Alright, so welcome back everybody. I've been having a big request here lately for me to get back into some solar projects here on the property, so that's what we're going to do. You asked for it, that's what we're going to show. So today will be the first time that I'm looking into a server rack type of battery for my solar system here. We currently have an Orient power system powering the shop, and eventually it'll be tied to the home, as well as some other backup solar power sources around the property. Now I've had several requests from viewers to look into server rack batteries. I'm currently using on-the-wall batteries, and these seem to be a really good bang for the buck, so to speak, for what you get and for the cost that's in them. And I think that's why they're so popular. So the battery we're going to be looking at today is Jakiper Battery from Solar, the same company that I bought my equipment from that's out here powering the shop. Now that company also claims that the cells inside of this, which we're about to open up and take a peek, are the exact same as the on-the-wall batteries. So in theory, I can actually parallel this battery right in with what I currently have. Now I want to go ahead and caution everybody, mixing batteries together is not suggested. However, if you're going to do that, it's okay if you keep the same type of chemistry. Never mix battery chemistries. You want to have the batteries near the same age as possible, or one could pull down the other, and always check with the manufacturer. Because this is the same voltage, the same chemistry, lithium iron phosphate, I should be able to tie into this, and I've already verified that with the engineers over at Solar that this is perfectly safe to tie in what I have. Another thing that makes that possible, this particular battery today we're looking at is rated at 100 amp hours and 51.2 volts, although you're going to commonly hear these size batteries referred to as 48 volts. So that's the rating that it has, and that gives me 5.1 kilowatt hours, the exact same as my on-the-wall batteries. Alright, so we're going to tie this in and test it for quite a few days. That's what we do. We don't just unbox something and just say we recommend it. I want to test this quite a bit, put a heck of a load on it, charge it, and put it in with my current system. If I like what I see here, I may add on to my system in the shop, which I've already been wanting to do with this server rack batteries, or this could potentially find its home over in a new pole barn building that we just built that's going to be fully off-grid. We can't run power out to it, and I'm going to need at least a battery this size, or potentially two of them, to power up everything I need over in that shop. So we're already looking at expanding the shop, the house, and a new shop on the property anyways. So we've got a lot of solar videos coming up. Alright, so here it is. You can see you've got two positive lugs up front, so you can parallel over to other batteries. Here is our digital readout display that'll give us battery information, and this battery also has communication ports so you can tie it in to your inverters. Alright, there's your power button and a 125 amp breaker that's included, and here is a quick look at some of the specs of this particular battery. By the way, if you're interested in this, I will put a link down in the description. You can go check out current pricing and look at the website. Alright, I do not recommend opening up batteries, but because I want to check out the cells that are in it, and because this is a review, let's open it up and look in there. Alright, so let's open this up, see what's on the inside. By the way, on the underneath side of the lid is a full diagram here of the batteries and the way they're connected, and the stated locations. Now again, you shouldn't be going inside of your batteries, especially for fear of voiding the warranty or creating any problems. And as you can see, the positive and negative lugs here are exposed, so you need to be very careful whenever you remove that metal cover. Up front here is our communication board, as well as our battery management system. So I've had zero issues with my Orient power batteries, which are very similar to these. No issues with heat. I've even torture tested them some, allowing this room that we're out here in to get over 100 degrees many days this summer. We'll be experiencing some cold days this winter. The battery management system is designed to take care of those potential problems. I have also run my batteries down to low voltage and made sure they cut off at proper maintained voltages, charged back correctly, and thus far I've experienced no issues. So I do like the way this battery is laid out. I'm going to be very careful here, but I want to make sure we don't have any loose lugs. Everything looks nice and tight. I like the little wire trays that they have here. Everything is nice and protected. Plus, if the lid were to ever get smashed in, these raised areas right here will keep that metal lid from making contact with any of the battery lugs. You can see where everything appears to have been torqued and is marked and color coded. Doesn't look like any of the nuts have backed off with shipping. And these cells do look very similar to the ones in the Orient power batteries whenever I took those apart a while back. Alright, looking up front, there's your communication board and battery management system. There is your breaker tucked away down there. Everything looks nice and neat. All right, so something I've been wanting to do here, now that we're going to tie a third battery into this system and kind of monitor everything, I really need to get some bus bars put in. This will allow me to make multiple connections of the cables coming in from all these batteries and any future batteries that we may add. The other thing that I really want to do, even though all of these batteries, including that Jakiper battery, comes with a circuit breaker, so they're breaker protected, I want to put a large fuse in on the output side of the bus bar where it feeds into my inverter. So we'll do one fuse for each inverter. This is just giving us extra protection should anything ever go wrong. Well, the batteries themselves have a battery management system, a breaker, and then again on the output side, should we have any issues, we're fused to protect our inverters as well. So I'm going to go ahead and disconnect everything. Try to find a spot. I think I can put my bus bars up in here and all the cables will reach. We're gonna have to make up some new cables as well. And then we'll temporarily put the Jakiper battery over here tied into the system. And then I wanna monitor it over the next few days. See how it compares with the current Orient Power batteries that I have. We'll monitor the percentages, the drain on the system. Of course, we're ultimately tying everything together. And what we're also wanting to see is, are there any codes, any issues, any malfunctions whatsoever. So we're going to put all kinds of loads on this. All right, so let me show what we got going on here. The battery is connected, and y'all, this is a review channel. We're reviewing a battery here, so I'm not building a special rack. I'm just putting it right on the box. And because I think this is gonna have a future home out in another building that we're taking off-grid on the property, we're just testing this battery out for a few weeks and getting you out a review. My future plans are to put 2 more on-the-wall batteries right here for a total of 20 kilowatt hours. However, I could wind up with 2 of these batteries, and if that's the case, I'll get a metal rack that'll go right here underneath and clean these wires up. So if you look down here at this indicator light, we are charging, so everything is wired in correctly. You take a quick look at the menu here. 52 volts. Look at the capacity, we're 54.60. We're going to be very slow charging today because it's rainy outside and overcast. That's something we're going to be working on in the future, doubling my solar array, trying to get us up to around 5,000 watts, which is ultimately what I'm really thinking I need. However, this solar panel setup right here has impressed me. 2,400 watts, and on sunny days, I have enough power to run my shop and recharge my batteries. It's these cloudy, overcast days like this that get me. That's where I ultimately need more panels to charge on cloudy days. All right, so let me show you what I've done here. Excuse the wiring again. This is all temporary until we figure out our ultimate system here in the shop and we get done reviewing on the channel. But now I have a ground bus bar in, a positive bus bar, and we have all 3 batteries coming into this bus bar. We have fuses going out to this inverter. We have a fuse power wire going out to this inverter, so we're protected. And don't forget, every single battery has a built-in circuit breaker. So we're covered on both sides here should we have any issues. All right, so there's not really a whole lot to talk about with a battery. We've done seen the internals. We just need to test it. Let's run it, make sure we don't get any error codes, nothing wrong with the BMS, and put this thing under load. My shop is off grid, except, well, it's so cloudy today, and now I'm trying to charge a brand new battery that's low. We're gonna flip to the grid real quick, allow these internal chargers to kick on in AC mode, charge these batteries up, then we're going back off grid. It's supposed to be sunny tomorrow and the next few days, so we're gonna be back completely off grid out here in the shop. And just to let you know, I have a full-size freezer out here, a full-size refrigerator. I have an ice maker, a freezer I converted to an ice maker that uses quite a bit of power. We have a window unit AC. We have security systems out here. We have Wi-Fi out here. We run fans, we run lights, everything. This actually pulls just as much load out here as my house does. So this would be a good solid test. But I want to make sure ultimately these all not necessarily communicate with each other because I don't have the communication cables hooked up, but all charge efficiently. And there is no issues with the BMS in any of this. Everything just puts out the power that it should, recharges like it should. That's the ultimate test of a battery. I just need it to recharge, hold that power, and put it back out. I'm flipping these over to the grid and gonna allow the grid to charge them up, and then we're going in full off-grid mode. I'll see y'all back in a few days, and I will report back if we have any issues with this battery. I'm expecting no problems, and I'm curious to see, once we get charged up, how long the shop will run on 15 kW of batteries now, because I've got all the data I need for 10 kW right here. And I want to see with normal everyday usage and it being sunny tomorrow, if 2400 watts is capable of topping all this back off and running the loads in the shop. It's going to be tight. I definitely know we need more panels, and that's coming very soon on the channel. Alright, you can see it's running on up now that we've got it slow charging off of the grid. Alright y'all, we're about a week and a half into me testing this battery, and I'm not sure what all else we need to look at. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a battery. It works. I've been paying attention to the state of charge rate right here, the percentage on the front, and paying attention to how it relates to these two batteries. Is it pulling down about the same? Is it recharging about the same? And they're all within a few percent of each other, which makes sense with them being tied together. I have seen no ill effects. My charging's been the same. My inverters have acted exactly the same. And the one thing I am noticing is, obviously, well, I have a higher state of charge when I come out every morning. So for example, in the wintertime, typically I'll come out the next day and I'm around 35 to 40% capacity on these two batteries. That's 10 kW of capacity. Now in the summertime, because those things run at a higher load because it's hotter, well, I'll usually come out to about 20% capacity remaining after running all night long. Plus my solar panel setup is not the proper direction for summertime charging because the sun sets on this side of the building. My panel set outside though is absolutely perfect for wintertime charging, and I just got lucky with the way I set that up. So it's kind of facing southeast, and the sun up here, I know I'm blinding y'all. Well, in the wintertime, it rides just above these trees over here and sets over there, and I get really good charging out of this panel set. But we're planning on upgrading the panel set anyways, and I'm probably going to put them on the roof, even though I don't want to, unless I find another idea. And we're going to add a few thousand more watts to take advantage of the summertime charging, which means I can add even more batteries. So I do want to step back and correct myself on something. I said a while back when I was putting in these on-the-wall batteries, I liked them better just because they're nice, neat, compact to the wall, and I said I thought they take up less room. And that's not necessarily true now that I'm seeing, you know, a rack battery. So think about this, for example. Look at my wall. I could move some stuff around and get one or two more on-the-wall batteries down there. Actually, I can't because of my plug. So I could realistically get two more. Well, that's 20 kW, which is good. That's kind of the minimum where I want to be. I'd like to be 30 kW. But look, if I were to do a rack right here, I could probably put 10 or 12 of these batteries versus 4 or 5 on the walls. So to say that these take up less room is actually inaccurate, and I have to correct myself on that. I said that a while back when I was installing these. These are more compact than I was realizing, and I really kind of like the idea of them building a rack right there. And you can build this system as large as you want to. I could have a huge amount of capacity in the room like this. Now the other good thing about these batteries, well, they're relatively affordable, especially when you compare them to other brands out there. For a while that battery was cheaper than this one, although I just checked their website and now they're exactly the same, which makes sense being they have the same amount of cells in them. It's just the casing and layout is slightly different. So let me step outside away from the fans. Right now I'm getting full solar, so everything's ramped up. To kind of close all this up, well, it's a very good bargain for the money. It just depends on if you want on the wall or rack. And I'm starting to see the value in a server rack type battery right there for, again, how much you can fit, say, in a corner or in a specific area. Plus, if you also look at the cost of a battery like that, it's 5.1 kilowatt hours. Well, and it's running a little over $1,500 on their website right now. If you compare that to, say, a portable power station battery, now, yes, they're different. They have their advantages and disadvantages, but you would be talking realistically about twice that amount of money, especially from a big name brand. So when you start looking at on the wall and server rack batteries like this, well, there's a heck of a lot of value there compared to other stuff on the market. Now, full disclosure, I was sent this battery to test, but I like it. I think this is what's going to power up our new barn back over here, and I may wind up needing 10 kW over there by the time I add, well, fans, lights, and other things, but I'm going to have to play with that. And if I like it enough, I may wind up buying one. That's exactly what I did with my on-the-wall system in there. I'll send out some of that for testing. I liked it so much, I turned around and bought me another inverter, another battery with my own money. So I'm putting my money where my mouth is, so to speak. All right, hopefully you enjoyed that little test. It looks like a killer battery for the money. I'm going to continue to keep using their products, powering our place up here. I just ordered a tremendous amount of panels because I caught them on some of the best sales I have ever seen. So we have 3 major solar projects coming up over the next few months. One's going to start very soon with the building out there. So if you like this type of content, you may want to consider subscribing, because I'm about to be building out a pile of solar stuff here on the property, and we're going to try to get our electric bill down to next to nothing. All right, y'all, thanks for watching. If you're interested in this battery, want to go check out the specs and pricing, I'll put a link down in the description. Thank y'all for watching.